Hey everyone, I just wanted to let you know that I currently have discounted reading specials going on right now. So, all you do is you visit my website, lamarrtownsendtarot.com. Give it a few seconds to pop up on your screen. There we go. And then we look over here and we have the specials and discounts page. So we click this link at the top of the page. It'll take us to the specials and discounts section. And this is the current special that I have going on. Now, of course, you can always routinely check my website and my specials and discounts page to see if I have any new specials going on at any given time. Of course, I do have regularly priced offers as well. But if you're ever short on cash, as we all are sometimes, and you need a reading, please check out my specials and discounts page, alright, and see what offers I have going on there. Thank you so much for listening and watching. I can't wait to read for you, and I look forward to your support, and I thank you for your support, and I look forward to conversating with you and doing your reading, okay? Namaste, love, and light. If you have any questions, please check out the FAQ section on my website, the personal ethics section, the blog section, and of course, the reviews and personal reading testimonial section as well. The hardest lessons for each of the zodiac signs to learn in love. So, with love comes lessons, right? With love comes growth, all right? Growing pains a lot of times. And with love, comes the energy of forcing us to change a lot of times. A lot of times in relationships, in order for relationships to work, we kind of have to change certain things about ourselves in order to make our partners happy, in order to, once again, make the relationship work, in order to compromise, and all of these necessary things that are, necessary for a relationship to function. But one of the most important aspects of a relationship is the lessons that we learn in them. And in this video, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about what lessons each of the 12 zodiac signs need to learn and tend to learn in love. So let's get started. And so let's start with the water signs. We'll start with Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon rules our emotional security, okay? Our, sense of emotional security, our emotional reactions to things. It's also our connection to our family and home. So one of the things for Cancers to learn in love is to, be willing to look past their comfort zones, to go past their comfort zones. A lot of times, Cancers stick to what they know. For the good and for the bad. All right. A lot of times, because Cancers can hold on so long, they can hold on to things that aren't good for them. So the lesson for Cancer is to, first of all, learn to let go, of course. Both literally, emotionally, spiritually, know when to detach your emotions, because sometimes Cancers can get too attached, too entrenched in, the emotional dialogue, the emotional energy of a relationship. So a lot of times Cancers have to learn to detach themselves, both from the relationship, from the emotions of the relationship, but also from the partner as well, themselves. So that's one of the biggest lessons for Cancers. And also, going past your comfort zones. To be honest, sometimes Cancers find comfort in what is dysfunctional, because sometimes they can find themselves getting used to the dysfunction because it becomes comfortable. But sometimes you have to go past your comfort zone and, follow your heart and see where it truly leads you, all right? Sometimes when we get stuck in our comfort zone, we actually get used to not following our heart, all right? So it's interesting how those two work in tangent. Let's move to Pisces. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. So one of the lessons for Pisces is to be realistic about love. All right, to not, to temper your expectations, but to not put all your eggs in the basket of love, especially when it comes to love in the sense of a relationship with other people. All right, self-love is most important for Pisces. Okay, and you must love yourself truly first before you can love anyone. I think that's the most important lesson for Pisces, you know, is to really, you know, explore your true sense of self, your true sense of purpose, your, you know, explore your soul growth, okay, on your own, which is Neptune, right? Explore your creativity. You just explore life, period. Have fun, be adventurous. That's Jupiter. Do these things with yourself so that, you know, you master the relationship with yourself, so that therefore you can master the relationships with other people. Scorpio. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars. And with love, you know, Scorpio's biggest lesson is to overcome fear. Now, a lot of times fear for a Scorpio can manifest in different ways. You know, Scorpio is the same. What one Scorpio is afraid of, another, you know, might not be so afraid of. But, for example, if a Scorpio is afraid of vulnerability, you know, that's a pretty important aspect in a relationship that a Scorpio is going to have to overcome. You know, trust issues is something that, you know, often Scorpios have to overcome. You know, my Venus is in Scorpio, so... my Pluto is also in Scorpio too. Not to mention Pluto is one of the most dominant planets in my chart. But you know, overcoming their fears. You know, overcoming their assumptions as well. Overcoming their need to possess. You know, these types of things. And all these things are based in fear. You know, so fear is the root cause a lot of times for Scorpios of what is the downfall of situations, you know. So it's really gaining control over that fear and not letting fear control you, okay? Being able to face fear, you know, straight head on, you know, and not be afraid of fear, all right? Now let's move on to the fire signs. So next, Sagittarius. Sagittarius actually, you know, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter rules expansion, our sense of adventure, our personal philosophies. It rules taboo, higher education. Sagittarius is honestly can have a fear of commitment. All right. So it's overcoming that fear of commitment, overcoming that fear of restriction. All right, in relationships that can keep you actually running away from relationships for the better part of your life. You know, and sometimes good relationships that can be good for you, but most of the time those relationships were rooted in some type of sense of feeling restricted in some type of way, you know. So it's finding the root cause of that, you know, but also finding, you know, a partner who you can have fun with, who you can explore with, who you can be adventurous with. But I think for Sagittarius, it's also about, you know, understanding that you can find love anywhere. You can find love in the flower you see when you walk, you know, down the street. You know, you can find love in the clouds. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's one of the biggest parts of a Sagittarius. And once a Sag gets to that point, you know, of finding love in life, they can find love anywhere. So, you know, Leo is ruled by the sun. And the sun, ironically, rules romance. It rules creativity. It rules our self-confidence, our connection to our higher self, and our life purpose. The sun rules the 5th house, which is one of my favorite houses, but the 5th house is also about romance and romantic relationships and things like that. So when it comes to Leos, you know, it's all about being realistic, you know, not expecting love to be so dramatic all the time, or to be so theatrical all the time, for it to be roses and rose petals all the time, or for people to, you know, be at your beck and call all the time. Sometimes it's about you kind of making sure your partner's happy as well. It's a give and take, and I think that's one of the biggest lessons in a relationship for Leo, is it's not all about you necessarily, okay? Even though it kind of is, it's, you know, it's also about the other person, and that's something that Leos have to constantly remember. You know, even when making small decisions that, you know, a Leo may not necessarily think is you know, an issue, but such a small decision could set the other partner off, you know, whereas, you know, the other partner can see it as Leo, of course, only thinking about themselves. So, you know, when it comes to Leos in relationship, it's really about, you know, making your partner feel as amazing as your partner makes you feel. All right, it's all about give and take. Aries, which is a good segue. Aries is kind of a little bit the same way. You know, Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars rules, you know, dominance, you know, self-assertiveness, how we express our sexuality, things like that. So naturally, Aries can have a tendency to want to lead the relationship. without consideration sometimes for the other person. All right, so kind of like Leo, Aries, one of the biggest lessons in love for Aries is consideration for the other person, consideration for the person that they're dating. You know, also bringing people into your life. All right, sometimes Aries can be so fast-paced, they can be so, you know, laser mind focused that it's like they almost live separate lives. It's like they have their work life, they have this, you know, separate facet of their life, and then they have their love life. Whereas a true love relationship is encompassing of your total life. You know, you bringing someone into the whole of your life, not holding anything back. You know, Aries, Mars rules the first house, which is the house of self-image. So self-image is kind of important for Aries. So Aries is the kind of person who will tidy up the room and put, you know, the dirty gym socks, the dirty underwear under the bed, you know, and make sure that the cover covers, you know, the total of the bed, so you don't see actually underneath the bed. You know, Aries is that type of person where, you know, they kind of smooth things over. They only want you to see the good and not, you know, the bad, or not the certain things that will make them seem a certain way, you know, that will kind of make their self-image a certain way that they can't control, you know, like, you know, but that's not love, Aries, you know. So that's one of the lessons, is that sometimes love is ugly, sometimes love causes us to surrender, you know, and submit, and, you know, that's one of the things that Aries has trouble with too. So, you know, in compromise, we have to compromise and all those types of things. So that's, you know, it's all about consideration, you know, here, compromise with Aries. Let's move on to the air signs. Now, Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury rules communication, intellect, and the mind. So one of the hardest things for Gemini is Geminis can sometimes, well, there's a lot typically going on with Geminis. It's not usually one thing, one lesson that Geminis have to learn when it comes to love. But I think one of the biggest lessons that Geminis need to learn about love is that, kind of like Pisces, you can't love someone else without first loving yourself. So sometimes Geminis can exhaust themselves to the point that they completely deplete themselves trying to please other people. Alright, so Geminis definitely have to be careful of that. Knowing exactly what you want and sticking to it is something that's important for Gemini. So saying you want a marriage, you know, saying you want a family, you know, but sticking to that role of being a family woman, a family man, you know, a married woman, a married man, you know, not stepping out. You know, sometimes Geminis can have, I mean, you are the lovers, so sometimes, you know, the lovers in tarot rules, you know, it rules love, it rules passion, but it does also rule, you know, third party situations. So sometimes, you know, Geminis, you know, not all Geminis, of course, but sometimes Geminis do find themselves in that situation. But to be honest, you wouldn't find yourself maybe in that situation if you truly loved yourself, right? Unless that's just your thing. And if that's the case, that's your thing. You know what you want, but you have to know in totality what you want. Like, you have to be totally sure, this is what I want, you know, which Geminis, you know, can have struggle with. You know, they can struggle with commitment and consistency, you know, which is an important facet in the relationship. So Geminis change my mind a lot, you know, which can be frustrating for their partners. But that's just who they are, you know, so it's all about kind of loving who they are, accepting who they are, and then finding someone else who accepts them and loves them for who they are. Because there's someone out there for everyone, right? But I think the most important thing with Geminis is truly loving yourself for everything you are. The good, the bad, the pretty, the ugly, the crazy, the intelligent, or the genius, I should say. Although they're kind of both in the same, in my opinion. But anyways, Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and Saturn. So Uranus rules groups, how we work in groups. It also rules how we approach our own personal goals and aspirations, our true sense of identity and purpose in the world and society at large. Saturn rules career, profession, status, and society, things like that. So when it comes to Aquarius and relationships, Aquarius, you know, it's all about understanding that relationships is not a game. It's not something that, how do I say this? For Aquarius is, you know, it's about understanding that, you know, when it comes to love, you're dealing with real human hearts. Humans who have feelings. Humans who have emotional reactions to the things you do, the things you say. And I think sometimes Aquarius is, don't take that into consideration. Uranus also rules unpredictability and change. So one thing with Aquarius is as well is that they can get bored really easily. All right. Which can be a struggle for their partners to keep up with, you know, to constantly keep them, you know, occupied and entertained or whatever. But truth be told, Aquarius, you know, it's you that needs to do that within yourself. It's you who kind of has to make life worth living, make life enjoyable for yourself, and not use kind of other humans as like kind of, I don't want to say props, but, you know, what's the word? As commodities in your life that make you feel good for a moment, but then eventually you get bored with it. So like a toy, like any commodity, when you get bored with something, you put it away. You stop giving it so much attention, which can actually be traumatic for the other person, traumatic for the toy, the commodity, because you've been giving it so much attention up until this point. Does that make sense? So with Aquarius, it's all about, you know, finding what makes you tick, finding what makes you love, finding what makes you feel passion prior to getting in a relationship. Now, that's not necessarily to say don't date, but know what you want, all right? If you don't want a relationship, then say you don't want a relationship. Be truthful, be upfront. Don't use people, period. All right, so now let's get into Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus, which, you know, rules romance, romantic relationships, and also rules money, how we like to spend our money, things like that. So my moon is in Libra. And the thing with Libra is it's all about, you know, loving yourself first, all right? Pleasing yourself first, putting yourself first, period, before anyone else. That's the only way a relationship that a Libra has with anyone is going to work. Because eventually, you know, if a Libra continues to put the other person before themselves, eventually Libra's going to resent that person, especially if that person begins to or never puts Libra before themselves. Like, you know, Libra is all about balance and equality, and when they're not getting that in a relationship, it can be haywire for a Libra, you know. So it's all about learning to balance your own scales by yourself via loving yourself, making yourself happy, doing things that make yourself happy, and not needing anyone's approval, you know. Not really caring what people think, even your partner or your mate. All right, let's move into the earth signs. Okay, let's start with Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So Saturn rules, like I was saying with Aquarius, our career, profession, responsibilities, status in society. Okay, you know, it also rules tradition. Okay, so, you know, when it comes to Capricorn, you know, you have to know what you want. All right, you know, if you want a relationship, then stick to that. If you don't want a relationship, then stick to that. Kind of the same thing with Aquarius, you know, Capricorns, it's all about learning to not use people for your benefit, using people to make you feel good, using people for whatever in any moment, you know. For Capricorn, it's all about finding what love truly is for them. You know, first of all, you have to love yourself, but then what is love for a Capricorn? You know, is it a traditional family, traditional marriage, or is it just someone that you enjoy, you know, their company, you know, you can laugh with, you can go to the company picnics with, you know, like, you know, what does love look like for you, Capricorn? You gotta know what you want. And you have to feel good about yourself. Capricorns can be prone to pessimism, you know, thinking the worst, expecting the worst, which isn't good. You know, you have to be positive when it comes to love, and that's what it's also about too, Capricorn, is learning to believe in love, learning to love, learning to accept love, you know. That's a big lesson for Capricorn. By the way, I'm a Capricorn sun, so with a whole bunch of Capricorn in my chart. Let's move on to Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury rules communication, intellect, and the mind, like I was saying with Gemini. Now, when it comes to Virgo, Virgo's an earth sign, so Virgos are much more practical when it comes to a Gemini who's much more logical. But when it comes to a Virgo, that can be their downfall. Virgos, it's all about not holding things in, all right? Not holding things in, not overthinking things, all right? Because sometimes you can sabotage yourself by holding things in and overthinking things. These are big lessons for Virgos in love. Also, holding things in can count as secrets, all right? Virgos don't necessarily like to be vulnerable. They're very calculating, and that's not love, I have to be honest. Love isn't calculating. Love is candid a lot of times. Love is vulnerability. Love is, not always pretty, not always perfect, all right? And that's another thing, is that Virgos need to learn that love is not perfect. Just as, we aren't perfect, love isn't perfect. And I think sometimes Virgos look to love as being like the ultimate perfection, the ultimate thing that will perfect their life. And then when they find that it may not necessarily do that, they get upset, right? But it's all about finding perfection within oneself. And first of all, learning that perfection is totally unattainable, all right? Look at it more so as what makes you happy. All right. Last but not least, Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus rules, like I was saying with Libra, romance, romantic energy. Okay, it rules balance, harmony, beauty, friendship. So when it comes to Taurus being ruled by Venus, very romantic people, very stubborn people though at the same time. You guys can expect love to pan out a certain way. You want it to pan out a certain way. You have a certain idea specifically of what your partner looks like, and you won't open up to any other idea of a new partner or a new type of love coming in a different way than what you expect. That can be your downfall, Taurus, is being too stubborn, and not being open-minded enough. Sometimes love is about, like I was telling Cancer, going past your comfort zones, okay? And Tauruses can like their comfort zones, all right? So, but sometimes, to be honest, when it comes to love and finding love and keeping love, you have to go past your comfort zones. You have to step outside your comfort zones. You have to think outside the box. I mean, how many stories have you heard of that one guy or that one girl who went to the same coffee shop or the same donut shop every day, but suddenly they went outside the box one day, and decided to go to a coffee shop across town, or a donut shop 2 towns over, and they meet the man or the woman of their dreams just by thinking outside the box in that moment, deciding to go with their gut instinct. Taurus, you guys are super intuitive, by the way, as well, so let's not get it twisted with you guys. Love is not just about what we expect it to be. Love is what happens and how we deal with it. All right. This is what the zodiac signs, I believe, need to learn in love. The lessons that each of the 12 zodiac signs must learn in love. Now, if you would like to elaborate, please contact me on my website, LamarrTownsendTarot.com. I would love to read for you. I do birth chart readings, psychic tarot readings, messages from your spirit guides, and so much more. I do individual birth chart readings, compatibility birth chart readings, where I focus on the overall compatibility between you and another person. I also do love compatibility birth chart readings, where I focus on the love aspects. I also do birth chart readings for your business, because yes, your business has its own horoscope. The day your business was established was the day that your business was born. And you can find, market the way you should market, the way you should interact with your customers, or why you interact with the way with your customers you do, or why your marketing works for you. You can find a lot of information in a business birth chart reading. So if you have any questions even about, how to jumpstart your business or how to become more successful, get a business birth chart reading. Also, I do birth chart readings for children. So if you have a child that you want to learn about, you want to know more about, you want to know how he or she will be when they get older, get a birth chart reading for your child from me. Also, I do psychic tarot readings. Now, I do discount specials every now and then. I do, reading specials, so check that out on my website, the specials and discount section. But I also do, psychic tarot readings via Skype, phone, which are more expensive usually, video. I do email, one-on-one through Facebook, Instagram, text message, and so much more. So check all of them out on my website, LamarrTownsendTarot.com. I appreciate you and your support. Please like this video, share with your friends and family, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the bell next to the subscribe button so that you get a notification whenever I upload a new video. Also, please like me on my social media pages, my Facebook, facebook.com/Lamarr Townsend Official, or just type in Lamarr Townsend Tarot in the search bar. And also, please follow me on my Instagram at Lamarr Townsend. Thank you for your support. Love and light. Catch you in the next video. Namaste. Have you been wanting to get a reading from me? Well, it's easy. Let's go through it together. So all you do is you visit my website, LamarrTownsendTarot.com, and you can visit the site on your computer or on your phone, and you click the store button right here at the top of the page, and here are all my services that I offer. I do candle offerings and all different types of birth chart readings and psychic tarot readings, messages from your spirit guides, and so much more. So you click the one that you want, you click the Pay with PayPal button, and it'll take you to the PayPal page where you can pay for your reading. Now, you'll hear from me within 24 hours, for your reading confirmation, and then I'll get your reading back to you within a 48-hour period. Usually, it's, a day or less, okay? So I look forward to reading for you. Thank you for your support.